them for first time in a while. First of all, I want to thank our fans. Brian just told me, I think that's a record. I think we had close to 5,500 fans here, which is a spring game record. And it was great standing out there looking up and seeing so many people on the home side. And just their energy was awesome. And then, secondly, I want to thank all of our former players that came back. I mean, it was over 100 former players. We had a great social last night with them and our coaching staff at American Social downtown. And then today, just to get out there and watch those guys run around a little bit and just see them having some fun and bringing back some memories and really just kind of watching our players interacting with them. It really was kind of that connection piece that really looking for there. So, just really a lot of good energy out there tonight and a way you want to finish your spring. As far as the game, number one priority is to come out healthy. And not only did we come out healthy in the spring game, we came out healthy for the entire spring. And as long as somebody doesn't get hurt on the way to the bus here afterwards, I don't know that I've ever been a part of a team where you went through 6 weeks of spring ball and didn't lose somebody to a major injury. So hopefully that's a great sign for us. And, after a couple quarters, I started pulling some of our key guys out there to make sure that would not happen. Second thing, I wanted a competitive game. I didn't want to see one side, offense or defense, dominate the other. I wanted to see a competitive game. Felt like early on, after that first drive, the defense standing out there on the field, the defense really did a good job clogging up the middle. There wasn't a whole lot of room to run up there offensively, and that's a really good sign for where we've been defensively and really mirrors what I've seen this spring. I think Coach Shoup and our defense personnel has worked extremely hard and made a lot of improvements in that area, which was a big focus for the spring. And then lastly, I would just say the way the guys conducted themselves all spring. And I've kind of talked about it in some of the media avails and stuff, but just a more mature team, more focused, hungrier team. And kind of what I told them right there, after the game was over, I said, hey, there's a lot of good things on both sides. And now the next time we kick it off, everybody gets to be on one sideline, and we get to get everybody back together. And then also we have about 10 key players that maybe 7 or 8 starters that are out this spring due to injury, and guys like Will Jones and Brad Cecil and Darian Grant. We'll get those guys back this summer. So, overall, obviously a lot of things to clean up. There always is. That was part of the spring. But overall, just seeing, I feel like, kind of getting to that tipping point as a program with our depth and just the maturity leadership, that we're going to get on the other side of this moving forward. So, 2 phases so far are in the books with winter workouts, January, February, and now spring ball, March and April. And, the guys will have academics and exams coming up here in the next 2 weeks, and then they'll come back in the middle of May and start the third phase, which will be our summer workouts. But, really pleased and, good finish to the spring tonight. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Jeff, you were right behind your quarterbacks all night tonight. Just how would you assess their performance?
Yeah, up and down. Again, I'm not going to make excuses for them, but I'm just going to kind of give the reality of it. You got your starting left tackle playing next to a walk-on guard, playing against a third-team center. It's all kind of spread out, so you have to kind of take some of that into consideration. And then same thing with the receiver group, right? Like, Timmy didn't have Weaver to throw to. He had, different guys. And so you get a little bit of that sometimes in the spring. But I think overall I saw Trey make some nice throws in there and did see Q make one nice one there as well. We'll go back and watch it. The other thing, standing behind him, what I noticed, it was windy. And that was good practice for him, too. Good practice for the punt returners to have to work on that in the wind, and then also for the quarterbacks to have to do that. I think they managed it pretty well. Young guys took a sack there at the end where we shouldn't have. But the 2 older guys, I think they managed the game pretty well. I think, they had a couple throws they'd like to get back. But overall, I'm pleased with the progress of the quarterbacks, not just today being the only evaluation.
Coach, talk about McLean a little bit. You kind of compared him to Charlie Ward during the week and, said he had his rough spots in his freshman year.
Yeah. So, he's a work in progress, just like all of our guys. I think, and again, what makes him best right now is his elusiveness and way to get out. And, I wanted him down there, maybe one of the first drives to I think he could have probably ran it in for a touchdown. But Coach Trickett's been on him about not just taking off and running, right? He does that very naturally and very well, and really trying to challenge him to be able to stand in there and make those throws. But I've seen him be a lot more intentional in his work, and just, it's kind of like starting off in pre-algebra, then you kind of get to algebra 1, and, now it's kind of new questions and a new level of detail. And I think overall a little bit of new terminology there with Coach Trickett coming in on some things with our protections. But overall, I've been pleased with his progress and look for him to take a big jump this summer before we get ready to go in September.
Coach, you were pretty adamant about not having a depth chart, and rightfully so. There's no reason for it. Come the fall, open competition everywhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's really that's the fabric you want for your program, right? That every day you got to show up, and there's no handouts. You got to earn it. You got to prove that you're the best guy each and every day that you go out there. And the best of the best are never satisfied. They never feel like they've arrived. So as a coach, you want those guys knowing, hey, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, and it's not just on the practice field, it's also going to study hall and getting your grades right, being where you're supposed to be off the field. Accountability and dependability are two of the best abilities that you can have, And so there's a lot of things that go into that. Our guys know that we're not afraid to move somebody down, move somebody up. We just don't advertise that, all the time and publicly, but that does definitely happen within our practice and within our team.
Jeff, you mentioned good depth, and if you could talk about that as it pertains to your receiver group, it seems like you've developed some good depth there, and certainly have some good length.
Yeah. It's good to see, some of the, younger guys that maybe haven't had as much of an opportunity. Sincere Brown's one of those guys, number 7, made some nice plays tonight. I mean, he's kind of been a scout team guy for 2 years. And, just good to see a guy that just keeps working and keeps working. This is going into year 3 for him now. And we bring in new guys, Joe, coming in and doing some good things too. But I'm really proud of Sincere, how he's battled and just really worked to develop. And, he's gained 15 pounds, getting stronger. It was good to see. Another guy, USF Terry, came in here a year ago and just, it just didn't click for him. It just wasn't, what he maybe was expecting. It wasn't as easy getting up there and playing as he was expected. And he had to make a decision. I can just go home, go do something else, or I can buy in, get in line, keep my mouth shut, and go to work. And that's exactly what he's done. Really seen him make some nice progress. And then, Joe, it's good to see him make a touchdown there and make some nice plays. I mean, he's a guy that he's different. You're looking for different skill sets, and he's definitely different than what we have there at the receiver position, being a bigger guy. I wish we could have had a chance to hit him there on one of the fades. But he's done some nice things. I think for him, it's kind of transitioning some things with the terminology. And then, Sean Atkins, 2 spring games in a row with a halfback pass right there. So that was good to see with him. And then, Jimmy and Weaver, I think they're really special. They have a chance to be very dynamic. I was very careful with them tonight and got them off the field pretty quick, but they've had an outstanding spring, and they're difference makers for us.
You talked earlier in the week about just your running back room depth. Michael Hamilton, a guy who ran for 1,800 his senior year in high school. Mitchell, 50 yards tonight, leading rusher, and then Jason Albert, who got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Big fullback looking dude. But just when you look down the line, not just within your top 4 running backs, you've got to. I'm sure you've got to like what you've got there.
Yeah. First of all, with Michael Hamilton, I mean, here's a guy that a lot of people would love to have, and right now he's kind of waiting behind some of those other guys. But he's one of the guys we trust in short yardage. He's above some of the other guys in short yardage in some situations, and he's earned that. He's had to be patient, but he's going to play for us. He's going to have a role and play for us. And then All Britain, who just got here, we call him All Stott. They don't want any piece of him. He's had some nice scrimmages and is able to finish out. I think he's going to find a role for us too, just because he's a tough guy to tackle and really strong. So, those running backs, there's really good chemistry in that room. I think Cam Aiken, our running backs coach, he does an outstanding job for us, and really technically coaching those guys up, but then also creating a atmosphere where everybody's, a team player, not, sitting here worried about who's getting the ball. It was a little bit more difficult for those guys tonight because, we had 3 offensive linemen out with Cecil and a few of those guys, and then we kind of had to split up the team. So it's a little inconsistent up front offensive line-wise for those guys back there. But those guys, overall, the running backs have had a really good spring and done some good things.
Coach Greer, the ultimate warrior, makes a great play
Yeah.
on the interception.
Yeah.
He fell down on purpose.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Greer, and Greer's been obviously a really good player for us, but this has been the most consistent that he's been since I've been here, just every day showing up and just seeing him, leadership. And there's always a point for those guys when they kind of become seniors where they kind of, that it just kind of clicks. And man, he's been everything that we would want and more. I know as years from now, whenever I kind of look back at the foundation of my time here, he's going to be one of those guys that I remember that really kind of pushed us forward and brought guys along with him. And I love that young man. Yeah, well, used to do more of that than NCAA didn't like some, I don't know. They get bragging rights right now. Here's what I like about it, right? You got spring games. Some people don't, I heard there's 10 FBS schools not even having spring games. And I think there's some schools that just have practices. And what I told our guys is, hey, I want you guys to compete. I want y'all to have fun, treat it like a game as much as we can. Obviously, there's some things we have to kind of protect a little bit for injury-wise. But, all the way to the very end. They were competing. It was important to them. They'll have fun. I'm sure they had their own little wagers within each other or something for a meal or something. But, no, we're at least not saying publicly if anything was on the line. Yeah. There we go. Yes, sir.
Speaking of the end, McLean coming in late.
Right.
Spontaneous plan.
Yeah. With what now?
Well, you brought in McLean late.
Timmy?
Late teams,
Yeah.
Spontaneous or?
Yeah, I think really what that, trying to think. Okay, so the green, I'm confused. Because
Green was up and Timmy came in late
came in with the white.
with the white.
Yeah. I think, and we had Byron Brown on the field for the last drive, but really what you're talking about, what we were trying to do in the second half is we were trying to get some of those backups, some reps, and then but we still wanted Trey and Timmy to get some reps there towards the end, but it was just really trying to get those younger guys a little bit more reps, so there wasn't anything from a advantage standpoint or, competition standpoint of why we did that. It was more just trying to balance out some of the reps for those young guys because, hopefully they're not going to get a chance to play very much in the fall. It's going to be, Timmy and Trey. So that was really what that was about.
Jeff, you couldn't stop smiling during the alumni.
Yeah.
What was it like to have some of the greatest
Yeah.
players that
Yeah.
VJ obviously, but
Yeah.
just to see them and they really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
No, it was great. And the feedback that I've got from them has been awesome. And, my message to them is, I may be the leader of the program right now as the head coach, but really I'm trying to be a steward of their program. This is their program, right? They are the ones that laid the foundation and put in the sweat and all the stuff that went into really laying the foundation. And I take it as a huge responsibility, myself, our staff, and our players. We want them to be proud of their program. And, obviously we got to take the steps to be able to get there. But we're better together. And kind of my, whole deal is, I want to see our campus really coming together. I think I'm seeing that a lot with our students. I want to see our former player alumni really coming together. Now we're getting ready to do the Coaches Caravan Tour, which I'm excited about, and really get our fans and other alumni together because this is a big window. This next 5 years for us is critical. And, my message whenever I speak at the Coaches Caravan Tour that we have coming up in Tampa and Sarasota, Fort Lauderdale, and Orlando, my message to them is how many of y'all were at the first game in 1997? And all of them raised their hand, the sombrero, the whole deal. And but guess what? Here in 5 years, we're going to be taking another picture, the first picture in the on-campus stadium. And I want it to be that full stadium. And we don't need to wait till 5 years from now to get everybody back together. We need to use these next 5 years to build it back and get everybody together, pushing in the same direction. And that's the vision I have, and I've seen that, and they're a big part of that because they have a big voice, and really appreciate them taking their time to come be a part of it and the support they've given myself and our team.
Coach, I know recruiting never stops.
Yeah, every day is a new day. I was actually, so one of my former receivers, Sammy Watkins, was here today and hanging out. I got to visit with him a little bit before the game. He got to talk to our players. And I said, I feel like in college now you're a head coach and a GM. Where NFL, you kind of, head coach just coach, and then you got GM and scout. And now you're doing your roster every day. You're thinking through it. We'll have exit meetings. I'll meet with all 112 of our players here over the next 2 weeks and kind of hear where they are. And I think we'll be in good shape I feel like we'll be in good shape with all of our main guys coming back. We still have a couple spots, so we'll kind of look, and I think there's 50 spring games today. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of new guys kind of getting in here over the next 2 weeks. So we'll kind of watch and see if there's a couple guys that we can add to it. But the good news is I feel a lot different than I did in December, where I felt like we had a lot of guys to bring in January. Now we're literally down to about 3 kind of guys that could kind of finish it all for us.
Coach, you mentioned Sammy Watkins. Did you get a chance to talk to the team,
Yeah.
namely the wide receiving group?
Yeah, well, he didn't get a chance to visit individually with the receivers, but, it was really probably more cool for me than it was for our players, even though I know they enjoyed it. Sammy and I had a great relationship whenever I coached him at Clemson, and then it's kind of like as a coach, when he went to the NFL, it's kind of like you're sending him off to college, right? Like, all right, go on, and we would text and all that, but really haven't had a chance to get back in person over the last 8 years. And then he just called me last week, said he was in town, wanted to come over to the spring game, wanted to talk to our guys. And so I got, he had probably about 25 minutes with our guys. And I heard him talk more in that 20 minutes than I did in the 3 years that he was at Clemson. But he's kind of getting to that point in his career where he really wants to, it's important to him to kind of give back. And it was awesome just to hear him talking to our players. I mean, they were listening. That was really special. And he just lives in Orlando, so I think he's going to try to get over here a little bit in the summer and get around some of our guys and see if he can kind of help them out a little bit.
Any chance you can get him to coach, maybe?
We actually are talking about that a little bit. So I think he's still got another year or two in him, but he definitely is talking about that. I think there'd be some type of role. There'd be an open invitation for him over here. But I'm proud of him, just seeing how he's matured, how he's gone about his business in the pros. And his wife and 2 girls are here. He's got girls that are 5 and 7, and they're actually staying at my house tonight with my family and my daughter who's 6, getting to hang out and meet his girls for the first time. It's really rewarding, and that's really what I told our players in my talk as I was kind of introducing him. I said, the joy that I get as a coach, yes, the winning and all that, yes, it's important, yes, it's fun, but the joy that I get as a coach is to see this 15, 16, 17-year-old young man that has dreams and aspirations and be a small part in his life, and then to be able to see him when he's 28, 29 and got his wife and 2 kids, that's what's special.
Coach, when you reconvene with your coaching staff this coming week, talk about this game, what's the first thing you're going to touch upon?
Yeah, the big thing is, just giving evaluations and being honest with the guys coming out of the spring. And, the guys, they're hungry for information. They need to know what they did well, what they need to improve on. And so we'll have our position coaches will meet with every player, and then I'll meet with every player. And so it's going to be about getting the evals. We'll meet as a staff on Monday for probably about 4 or 5 hours, go through every player, probably spend 5 or 6 minutes on every player, where he is on the depth chart, what he needs to do to develop. We'll kind of type it all out and put it in our computer and profile. So that'll be the number one thing, is I want to finish with our guys the right way, and then the next week we'll turn our attention to recruiting. We can go on the road here in 2 weeks. The assistant coaches can, and we'll kind of get our plan for the Bay Area and the other Florida high schools, doing a great job of evaluating those guys.
Coach, we know how important recruiting is. How do you feel about it so far? I mean,
Yeah.
it's make or break.
Yeah, it's always important. I feel like our recruiting has been improving. I think, obviously the portal's a new part of the recruiting. I guess here's what I would say. Our culture is the best it's been since I've been here, and your best recruiters are your players. And when your players love their team, they love the coaches they're around every day, they love their teammates, they go to their high schools and they tell their former teammates, and it makes it easier to recruit. And all of a sudden I'm seeing, first time since I've been here, that it's turning into a positive to come to South Florida. There's a new energy here. You see the indoor going up, you see the stadium, plans and all these things. So that is turning. So I really feel that, our recruiting is going to take a big step up here in this next class.
Coach, real quick, on a scale of 1 to 10, how close are you being back to normal?
Oh, what do you mean by normal? Normal's a tough.
Pre-COVID.
Oh, pre-COVID, well, I don't know, if I can give it a number, but I'll say this. I feel like we have, for the first time since I've been here, we have the depth that a Division I team should have. I don't feel like we've had that in the 2 years before, and there's no reason or whatever interesting reason why, but I feel like we have the depth to be able to go and compete. Now we got to play well, we got to make plays, we got to stay healthy, we got to do all the little things, but it's now kind of an even match as far as having the depth to be able to finish some of these games off that maybe we didn't finish last year. All right. Hey, I appreciate y'all's really being around this spring and coming to the press conference and giving us some good pub and you know, all the time and interest that y'all have with us. It doesn't go unnoticed. So thank y'all, and we'll see you later on. Okay, appreciate it.
We'll get started with Travis Marsh.
How y'all doing?
Take questions from Travis.
Pretty good bounce back after the interception, kind of settled down there. What kind of clicked for you? How was the brand feel in general outside of today?
Outside of today, I could say spring has been tough for me because I started off heavy. I was 240. So my challenge was to lose weight so I could be in shape, so I can go out there and have fun today. I'm currently now 229. I feel good. I'm working to go to 225 by the season so I can feel great. But this spring was good for me.
I think you're the first and only so far that's kind of broken coach's rule of you going to the portal and not coming back. I mean, pretty big, news, in the quarterback room especially. You bring some veteran leadership back into the room. What was the process like, when you decided to go into the portal and then talking to the coach and like, hey, maybe I should come back? Like, what was the decision process for you?
Honestly, after the season, what made me enter the portal, I was a little discouraged. I was listening to too many outsiders, but I was the one inside. I knew what was going on. But Coach Wise and Coach Scott sat down and talked to me, and we came up with a commitment that I'll stay if I come back. So I'm here, and I'm 100% committed all in.
Even though, Coach White moved on to Ole Miss, how are you honoring that commitment, with Coach Strickland now?
The expectations haven't changed for myself, obviously. I just gotta take what he wants from me. I mean, I gotta listen to what he wants me to do, and I just gotta go through the process all over again, basically. But it's coming along well, though.
Scrimmages are scrimmages. How
Yes, sir.
close was this to having the bullets fly for real today?
It was a little nervous. I was a little nervous at first, but once I got my first snap, I felt very comfortable because I played in a big crowd. It wasn't the crowd. It was just me coming back, having a game-like experience all over again. But it felt good, and I was having fun out there with my brothers. That's all that mattered.
Go ahead and assess your performance. What are the positives? What are the things you need to work on?
Positives was 2 touchdowns, obviously. Negative was the pick. I don't blame that on me, but I blame that on me because I threw it, obviously. But all I can say is, honestly, I'm happy that I had fun with my brothers, even though we lost green team. But the most important thing about today was to have fun and compete, and that's what we did.
All right, thank you, Travis.
Appreciate y'all.
Straight to the quarterback, Timmy McClain. Timmy.
Sammy, so I guess coach has been trying to work with you on not scrambling. He's really wanted you to stay in that pocket. And like, how tough is it when the natural instincts are there to just want to go?
It's real tough because, that's the first instinct, when, trying to play game speed rep, trying to get a game speed rep, when those guys coming at you, you just gotta, that's the first instinct for me is just to, get out of there, don't get tackled, don't take a sack. So, yeah, it's been real hard, just trying to, stay in the pocket and just trying to, deliver the ball, so.
You got thrown to the wolves last year, into the fire right away. What did you learn from it?
I learned a lot from it, actually. I learned, gotta make, I learned really how to be a leader. You gotta lead by example. Just gotta learn, just lead, really. Just learn how to, just being a leader.
Was the hardest thing okay, I gotta throw this to the tuba and go to the next play instead of trying to squeeze stuff in?
Yeah, you know, I was forcing a lot of stuff last year, you know, but this year's gonna be different. You know, I'm gonna try, you know, to not force things, just make good decisions.
In the running back room, Coach Scott said that Mike Hamilton's probably going to have a role this year. Jason Albritton could have a role. Just obviously, you know, you got the top four between Kelly and Brian and Mikey and Jaron. But just for y'all to be able to have that kind of depth in the running back room, just what's it going to do for y'all this year?
It's gonna do a lot for us, you know, with those running backs, those guys. You know, it's gonna do a lot for us in the run game. You know, with me, you know, so it's gonna do a lot for us. You know, it's gonna do a lot for us this year.
Do you see those guys like Mike and Jason really having a role this year?
Oh yeah, I see those guys. You know, those guys had an awesome spring this year. You know, those guys made a huge impact to our team. We believe in those guys. So.
Seems like the team's a lot bigger. You look pretty bulked up as well. How much weight have you put on? How much muscle have you put on?
I haven't put on that much weight. You know, I'm trying to get up to 200. You know, right now I'm right 195, around that area. So I'm just trying to get up to 200, 205. I'm not trying to be too big. You know, I'm just trying to, you know, be able to take them hits. You know, so.
Sammy, what has the competition with Trey been like? You know, you two going back and forth. How have you guys kind of pushed each other during the spring?
It's been all right. You know, it hasn't been really a competition. You know, it's just really been, you know, we just learning off of each other. You know, we look past competition. You know, we just trying to learn, just trying to make each other better.
And the coach talked about the depth at receiving. Things are really looking pretty good right there. Seems like there's many more options. Can you talk about the difference in the receiver group right now compared to last season?
You know, we have added a couple more guys to the receiver room. And those guys came in, you know, like Ajor, Ajor, you know, those guys, those guys have made a huge impact. Those guys keep doing what y'all doing.
The coach mentioned like USF and Sincere in particular too. So have you seen them kind of pick up their game as well?
Oh yeah, those guys. Sincere has had a good spring this year. You know, he's been doing his thing this year, this spring. So, yeah.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sammy.
One of those new receivers, Mr. Joe here.
How y'all doing, man? That's good.
Any question for Joe?
Joe, what was it like playing back in Tampa for the first time since left for Clemson? It's been good, you know. It's a very nice home warming gift, I guess, if you would call it. You know what I'm saying? Playing at Ray J. See, last time I came to Ray J, I took a visit as a school trip through Ray J. You feel me? So to play in it was good. You know, to play in my home now that I can call home. So it was good though. It was good.
When I talked to Coach Jesse over at CAI,
Yeah.
kind of the big thing he told me was, you know, since a lot of the CAI kids aren't, you know, homegrown per se, from overseas or from Canada or wherever, you know, they don't necessarily feel, you know, obligated to stay home. But for you, man, you just you came back to the Bay Area, even though you'd only spent a couple years here. What made you want to come back to the Bay?
What made me want to come back to the Bay? It wasn't even the Bay for real. You know, it was the relationships I made in the Bay. Feel me? So I'm getting recruited to Clemson, top of the top. You feel me? Jeff Scott's coming here. You know what I'm saying? And he telling me, you're not decommitting. Nah, you going to Clemson. You go. That's a once in a lifetime opportunity. You finna go there. You finna learn everything. And if it don't work, then you know, so be it. You feel me? So I go to Clemson, and then you know, stuff don't work out the way I want it to. So now I'm looking at options, and the only person I could trust for real was Jeff Scott, because that relationship that we, you know, made, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one genuine dude, bro. You feel me? Like, he'll really go the distance for you if you're worth it. So, yeah, that was what it was.
Two things you can't coach, size and speed. You bring that size dynamic.
Yeah.
How important is that to use your body like a basketball, knocking somebody out, going up in high point?
To be honest, it's very important, because when you got little dudes coming up to you like Sean Atkins saying, dude, just use your body. It'd be like, damn, yeah, you're right. You know, so like, yeah, just, you know, knowing my abilities and playing within them. You feel me? So I'm a big guy, you know, just using my size, you know. People say I can't run for real, but you ain't seen me run yet, for real, so. But yeah.
On the last Zoom, someone asked you about the name, and you said you had to do it in your native language. Would you like to try it now?
No, sir. I'm sorry. No. I don't mean that in.
What language would that be?
Dinka. I can like, Chiba, you know, boy, I ain't Charlie Joe. Like that's you know, we meet and greet, but it's very.
Something I'll have to work on for the ball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
No worries. Thank you, guys.
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Question for Xavier Weaver.
Hey, X, could you just touch on what Joe brings to the receiver room?
A whole lot, like y'all was saying, size, you know, he got great ball skills. You know, he brings a lot to the receiver room that we could use, and you seen it out there today, he showed it. You know, a lot of people can't come down full speed and hit him. You know, that's gonna hurt them. So that size, we really need that in our receiver room.
And during practices, we didn't see much today, but during practices, like normally you would draw coverage, or what is it like for having him or Sincere working their way up, you know, up the depth chart and whatnot?
Yeah, it's also a blessing too, cause you know, like you said, I draw double coverage and stuff like that. So it tends for them to forget about everybody else, you know. And them boys also can make plays, and so when that happens, they go out there and shine, and you see why the receiver room is gonna be so good and so strong, and so got so much versatility in that room.
Coach talked about the maturity, he talked about the depth, and how he feels like now it's an even playing field, and how you guys have the ability to finish. What's that like, coming out of spring, guys are healthy, and also now you'll take that big step over the summer before the fall?
Yeah, it feels good because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you want to say it. You know, we've been building all along and stuff like that, but like they say, you know, we're not building no more. We really got the foundation now. This is the year that y'all gonna see it, and you know, we're gonna strike out.
You kind of broke out last spring game, and you kind of continued it today. You know, all-time performance in the spring game, back-to-back years, Hall of Fame in the spring game. What did you work on? I mean, you had a great fall season. What did you work on in the off-season, winter, spring, to help you take that next step?
Just maturing as a person, you know, and just slowing the game down and learning more, you know, coaching up the younger guys and the newer guys, you know, because it's not all about me. You know, if like my boys say, when they double cover somebody, you know, but we still got other people in the room. So pretty much coaching up everybody else so we can all be on the same board so that we're not missing a beat.
Xavier, what's the difference between Timmy now and Timmy at the end of last season?
Mature. He's learning more. He's going through his reads, dropping back. He ain't just trying to scramble. But, you know, he's still a game player. He's going to make things happen. So I think at the end of the day, he's just maturing more and becoming a leader like he was saying.
What did you see from Travis today? Obviously, you guys were on the same side of the field.
Oh, yeah.
You guys had today. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, sir. You know, Trey, you know, we always had a connection, too, because like I said, the quarterback room is always competitive and stuff like that. So we run reps every practice and stuff. So we all like Trey on, Timmy on, Byron, they all. So when the ball coming, it all feels the same, really.
You're the guy that blows the top off the defense. There's always a spot for a guy with speed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Don't forget about Jimmy Horn. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll wrap it up with today's leading rusher, Mike Hamilton.
How's it going, guys?
Coach Scott said that you're going to have a role on this team, you know, in some capacity in the fall. Just what's that mean to you, for him to have that confidence in you?
I think it's pretty good for me because, like, for me, it was just like one step at a time. So, like, it's just a great feeling for him to say that about me.
And for you, you know, you did what you did over at Mitchell, you know, the 1,000-yard rusher more than once, you know, up there. Just for you, man, as you kind of, you know, ventured, you know, through the JUCO aspects over to USF, just what have you learned, you know, from your senior high school?
I say just being patient, you know what I mean, and just don't rush the process and that's it. Cause I seen a lot of stuff from JUCO. For me going to that D2 for a little bit, like just take your time. Things will happen.
When you break into that second level, you have the ability not only to run somebody over, but to outrun them. How important is that?
I think I think it's pretty good because like you can do whatever you want to do. Because normally, like, a defensive guy would just think you're going to do this and do that. I can do both, so I think it's pretty good for my game.
Gets that defender to think too.
Yeah, yes sir.
Is there anyone you model your game after?
My favorite player is probably like Damian Thomason. That's probably my favorite guy. But, yeah.
Why is that? Is it because he's multifaceted? Is that what you
Yeah,
to be as a running back? Multifaceted, pass protection?
yeah, just
pass
a little bit of everything in that aspect.
Just give me the rock. right?
Yeah,
Is that important in Coach Scott's offense to be multifaceted in everyone as a running back?
I think so. I think so.
Has the game speed changed a bit from D2 and JUCO level to what you've seen out there?
I think JUCO is what really helped me the most because there's a lot of talented guys in JUCO, and like with the D2, like I didn't even play there. I just there for a semester because I thought I had to go somewhere, so that's what kind of. But JUCO definitely helped me out a lot.
Do you like being, back home, back in the Bay?
Yeah, definitely. Not cold, it's brutal.
Michael, there's a lot of guys who have made this path back to the Bay, and now there's a lot of pride within that room to kind of get this, take USF back to it. How much, have you guys talked about that? What's that trying to like build back up to what USF can be?
I think USF can be great, you know what I mean? We're going to do some stuff this year. We're going to be great.
Michael, last question from me. Were you recruited by USF your senior year?
Yeah, I was my junior and senior year, but my ACT score was really low, and that's what kind of messed me up, so I had to go the JUCO route.
All right, thank you all.
See you guys.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I learned from the best.